Yo, good morning. Bracy Skills Clinic's back with another video. It's the top of the morning, man. By the time y'all see this, it may not be morning. It may be like afternoon. But it right now, live, it's about 9 o'clock right now. So about to get my day started. Had a very, very fun day yesterday. Took my son to Oakland A's game against the Baltimore Orioles, man. Good game. It was cold a little bit, but, it was a good experience to go out and see. It is his birthday tomorrow, his third birthday, so we're just trying to do as much as we can, giving him a birthday week. So, yeah, yesterday was great. Now we on to the new day. Hope you guys enjoyed that Spurs video I did on the recap, unless you're not a Spurs fan, of course. But for all my Spurs fans out there, hopefully you guys enjoyed the recap. I'll have some more topics to discuss about the Spurs and their offseason coming up soon. But today, I'm going to get into my AAU program team, Rampage. Great times, man. Last week, one of our players, Will Heimbrook, shout out Will. If you guys have been keeping up with my channel, you guys know I don't know how many times I've stated that this is the most underrated player in California. And, when I say things early, I talk about my players and, what I think they could be. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there that's like, oh, man, what is he talking about? He's probably being biased or whatever, right? But the thing that makes me feel good is that people are now seeing that I'm not just being biased. And, what I called was real. Me calling him the most underrated player in California was no knock to no other player. Of course, there's no possible way for me to see every single basketball player in California. But, the reason why I called him the most underrated player in California was several different reasons. He hasn't played basketball as long as a lot of other kids. He's 6'7", has a long wingspan. He's a tremendous athlete. He started off playing baseball. His defensive ability, he's one of the better defenders that I've ever coached. On ball, off ball, blocking shots, timing, making good reads. He's a solid defender. And on the offensive end, man, he's really, really patient. He can create his own shot. He gets to the cup. He can shoot it. He checks off a lot of boxes for me at 6'7". And on top of all of that, great kid, has a 3.9 GPA, comes from a great family. So all those things to me was why I called him the most underrated player in California. And his recruitment has been very, very interesting to see because it was like he really had to build his way up into being a Division I player, man. He's, he had 5 Division II offers or 4 Division II. Let me see. He had Sonoma State. He had Cal State Stanislaus. He had Dominican. I'm missing one. I think he had more than that. I don't know if I'm tripping. I don't know why I'm drawing blank. But I know he had more than that, than those 3. But anyways, Cal State East Bay. How can I forget East Bay? I'm tripping. Shout out Coach Rooney. Yeah, so he had like 4 Division II offers, and he even had more Division II offers. But it was kind of one of those things where, they told him like if he was interested in them, then they would offer. He had a couple schools that were only going to offer if he was interested. But Will had aspirations of going Division I, rightfully so. And he decided to join SC Academy for a post-grad year. Shout out Coach Julius. He hasn't started with them yet, but he basically made the announcement that he will be class of 23 instead of class of 22. And he had a really good tournament in Vegas. And the next week, Seattle U offered. This weekend we'll be in LA or SoCal. I'm working on that, not calling everything LA. But we'll be in SoCal this weekend, and he'll have an opportunity to possibly earn more. I do like Seattle U's program as well. But it'd be great to see him, go through the recruiting process and, make discussions and meet new coaches and, see what happens. But the thing is, overall, it's like with our program right now, Will is going to be the second Division I player in our program's history. The first was Myron Amy, who's at San Jose State. Shout out Myron. Hopefully he bounced back from his surgery. He had a successful surgery last week. He was playing the later part of the season with a torn ligament in his ankle, so he had surgery to get that fixed so it wouldn't continue to bother him. So that's basically the status with him. But shout out Myron. He was our first Division I player, and it looks like Will be the second one. And I posted this today on my Instagram story about how I've been able to basically project some of the things that happens with our program. And it's not that I'm psychic or Mr. Cleo or something like that. It's just more of just like I look at player development and projection like this. There are guys that have potential, and there are guys that have not just potential, but they have potential in a will. No pun intended. But that will basically means like their desire for really wanting to be the best that they can be. I've had every player that's put on a Team Rampage jersey have been talented. They've shown some level of talent. So I want to make sure I'm very clear on that. Like every player that's put on the Rampage jersey has definitely had talent to possibly be a college basketball player at some level. But what I will say is this: there is a common denominator and something that relates in particular to the two Division I players that we've had in Will and Myron. The things that they have in common, to me, besides like the great upbringing, both have tremendous families. But I don't even want to go into that because I know there are great players that may not have that may not have the family structure that, Will and Myron has. But I'm just saying, as far as the common theme between the two is that they really believe in themselves. They really believe in themselves. And I appreciate every coach that recruited Myron during high school before he was a Division I player, and the same today with Will. I appreciate all of them. This is no knock towards any level because I'm the person that will tell you pros come from every level. Pros don't just come from Division I. Pros come from D2. Pros come from D3. Pros come from NAIA. Pros come from JC. So I'll be the first to tell you that. So I'm the last person that will ever, tell a kid like, you can't go pro out of a certain level. Or you can't go D1 out of a certain JC. Like none of that is true. If you're good, you're good. But what I will say is, when you believe in yourself, it definitely carries you through the development process, because both those guys, Will and Myron, kind of stayed even keeled throughout the recruiting process. And I'm not saying that they didn't get frustrated at times. It can be frustrating because it is a long grind. It's a slow grind. Recruiting is a slow grind, bro. Like Myron, shout out Coach Ben, who's at San Jose State. Myron was talking to Ben for at least a year before the offer came from San Jose State. I know he had a coaching change, but he had built that relationship with Coach Ben for at least a year before that offer came. And the same applies with Will, believe it or not. Will had been talking to Seattle U for a while. It wasn't just they saw him in Vegas and they offered. Like, they had a relationship with Will. So I just want to make sure that we're clear that recruiting is a slow grind, bro. These coaches have jobs, and they want to make sure that you're the right person for the job so that they can keep their job. But when you believe in yourself, it's not that you big-time programs, because neither one of them did that. They were very, very respectful to all levels that were recruiting them. But they kept their eyes on the prize, and for them, the prize was to be able to play at the highest level, which is Division I basketball. And they put the work in, and they stayed even keel, even when it looked like it wasn't gonna happen. They believed in themselves, man. And I think a lot of people think that it's just skill that gets you there, and it's not. And I'm a basketball trainer, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not just skill that gets you to the promised land, bro. There are in today's game, bro, there are so many skilled basketball players. Like, there are skilled players that don't train at all. There are skilled players that do train all the time. Like, of course, if you train, you got that leg up. But I know a lot of skilled players that don't put the work in. It just comes natural. But that passion for really wanting to reach the highest level has to be there in order for you to make it, bro. I've had skilled players in the past that were really good basketball players, but wasn't willing to make certain moves with their career that would have helped them get to where they want to get to, but it would have just took longer. But sometimes longer is the only option. I'm gonna go back to Myron. Like, Myron had to go all the way to swallow down the wrong pipe. My bad. No COVID. Anyways, Myron had to go to a random city in Pennsylvania, prep school, postgraduate school in Pennsylvania back in 2020, middle of the pandemic. COVID's at its height. He went out there and did a whole year. And when he got there, he had to quarantine within his dorm room for a week. So he could not leave his dorm room for a whole week after he got there. So imagine being in a room in Pennsylvania. You're 3,000 miles away from home. COVID's going on, and you can't talk to nobody. You can't even leave your room. I try to imagine myself going through that, and I would have drove myself nuts. But sacrifice and will and desire, keeping your eyes on the prize. Like, yeah, it's hard to deal with, but when your eyes are on the prize, you're gonna basically push through that. You're gonna suck it up. You're gonna say, forget it. I know this is not gonna be a forever move. And that's what kills me about a lot of high school kids is, like, they talk about not wanting to go to certain places for school. And I'm talking JUCO. They don't want to go to certain places for school, but I'm like, bro, it's a pit stop. It's a pit stop. You 2 years, maybe 3 if you're not ready and you got a shirt a year, but 2, sometimes 1. You could be 1 and done. You know what I'm saying? Depends on how good you are. You could be out of there in 1 year, but I listen to these kids talk about how, like, they don't want to leave. And I'm like, dang, bro, like, me knowing the landscape of college basketball, and I'm like, man, that would have been a great move for you because you'd have been able to develop, and all you would be able to do is play basketball and hit the weights and go to school. That's probably seriously all you need to turn yourself into a high-level college basketball player, meaning any level of Division I. And because you don't want to leave the nest, you're not going to be able to get that. You know, when you're home, you're comfortable. And you got to be used to being uncomfortable. You got to be used to not, to doing things differently and growing up quickly. And I think that's the biggest reason why we haven't had more players reach their potential is because, we would have opportunities for certain kids and the kids wouldn't jump on it because of the location, or they don't want to leave the house, or, just those type of things where it's just, you can't do it for them. All you can do is just say, all right, man, well, we still going to support you. Hopefully the best works out. But, it's me. The frustrating part is knowing what could have happened, what you possibly could have turned into. But everything happens for a reason. But back to, Will and Myron, it still comes back. It still comes down to desire. If I want to be a Division I basketball player, I'm going to do what it takes to be a Division I basketball player legally. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that they have in common. Now, hopefully there are more kids that come through the program that have the same traits, but those two are definitely special kids because they stayed calm throughout the process, bro. And that's the main thing. It's not panicking, and staying true to what you believe in. Trust the process, trust your own work. And those two did that. So that is now my second Division I player straight from the program, meaning that they've played a summer in AAU and they'll be, or post-grad, I guess you'll say. second post-grad Division I kid in the program. We've had plenty of other Division I athletes. I know we've had a couple other sport athletes, but we also had, people always. And I know I need to talk about this more. We've had another Division I basketball player. He went JC first. That's Noah Zappi. He played at Sac State. He went to Butte College in Chico first. So he was technically the first Division I basketball player out of the Rampage program. But Will and Myron are the first two that, did not have to go JC to go D1. They basically went post-grad, played a year at AAU, and it happened for him. So the good thing about Will is Will did it without playing a single prep game. When we had Myron, he was technically – the crazy thing with Myron is he was technically an unsigned senior because he had finished a whole year of post-grad and then came back to play AAU. And I'm seeing a lot of people talk about that now, about how they're disagreeing with kids playing prep and coming back to AAU to play. And I understand it. I mean, people are complaining about the age thing, but we've actually had a kid go D1 that did that. So, I'm not saying have 22-year-olds out there because Myron still was young. He was 18, I believe, when he still played for us because he was young. But still, I'm not totally against kids playing a year of post-grad and then coming back to play AAU because I've seen it work. So, just to put that out there, just think about that, coaches, man. The game has changed, bro, and I know we want to harp on age. I get it, but colleges don't give a damn about age right now. So, I'm not, like I said, I'm not for 20-year-olds playing AAU. I'm not saying that, but if a kid is 18, maybe even turning 19 or might have just turned 19 and he played a whole full of post-grad and he comes back and he plays AAU, I'm not 100% against it because he made the decision to do a post-grad year. His college eligibility has not started yet. It'd be different if cats was cheating, literally cheating, guys that were playing college ball or were playing at a JC that came back and played AAU. Okay, that's totally different. But if a kid hasn't started college yet, I feel like they should be able to play AAU, and within a certain age. Now, I think if you turn 20, you should not be able to play AAU. But they do have 19U AAU. I don't know if you guys know that. They do have that. And I think it's for that exact reason, the post-grad kids that come back and play as unsigned seniors. I think that's what that's for. But, not to get carried away, but, everybody has different routes. I'm just blessed that, we've been able to have Division I players back-to-back year because as an independent program, it's very difficult to have a Division I kid, especially with the transfer portal, and to have it in back-to-back years, bro, and still have opportunities to get more. There are still players on our roster that I believe are Division I. So hopefully Will's not the last on this year's team to get a Division I offer because I really believe in some of the other guys that we do have. But it does feel good for him to get that monkey off his back, and it's a school that he really likes too. So, man, shout out Will, shout out Myron, shout out everybody involved with the Rampage camp, man. Shout out my staff, shout out the coaches, shout out the parents. Man, we're doing great things, and I just want to say this before I end this video. AAU programs, in particular ours with Rampage, we like to run ours like baseball in terms of we know the 17s is the big deal. We know that that's going to get the most attention, and rightfully so, because that's the highest level of AAU basketball. We get it. But we do value our younger teams. We do value the 12U all the way up to the 16U. 12U is the youngest age we have. We do value that because I can't guarantee every kid is going to make it to the top. I can't guarantee that. But when the coaches do their part of developing kids, it does make the job a lot easier for 17s because there's not going to be a need to go outside the camp and get players. I may go outside to get something that I don't have within the program, but if our 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s are all developing, doing things the right way, the kids, taking care of business in the classroom, showing great character, those type of things, it makes it a lot easier to, stay in-house and build teams that way, which I think is the best way, bro. When you get kids from all over, you can have a lot of talented players, but the chemistry, guys being able to practice all the time because they may be coming from so far. There's a bad side to getting fly-ins, bro. And when you have a strong core of kids that have been within the program and are doing everything in their power, I think that does hold weight. Now, on the flip side of that, um, just because you're in the program doesn't mean that you're going to automatically be graduating to the next team. You can't just say, "Oh, I've been here," but you're not producing, you're not putting the work in, you're not working out. You saying you've been here and you're not producing on that court, I'm sorry, it doesn't hold as much weight in terms of the elite teams. Now, we'll have multiple teams for you to play on because I don't believe in cutting nobody. Like, we didn't cut not one person from our 15s and 16s tryout. So I'm not saying you can't be a part of the program, but elite is a privilege. Real talk, bro. Elite is a privilege. And I think people need to start understanding that. We got to make elite mean elite again. Make elite mean elite again. Elite is not, "Oh, I just played with your program last year, so I should be on an elite team." That's not elite. Elite means the best. Elite means a selected few of the group that are superior. That's elite. You know what I mean? I think today we got this elite word doesn't even hold weight no more, man, the way AAU is ran now. But I will say within our program, if you're putting in elite work on and off the court as a student, everything else, then you'll probably be on the elite team. Like I said, shout out to younger teams because they've done a great job of developing our kids and getting them ready for the next level. So, but yeah, man, that's just an update with Rampage. We'll be in SoCal this weekend. Hopefully get some more offers for some of our kids, get some wins as well. Let's do both. It's about the offers, but I would love to get both because I'm a competitor and we do want to win. And hopefully, our other teams that'll be going, our 15s, 16s, and also our unsigned seniors will be down there. Our 16U Gold will also be playing this weekend. Shout out Coach Christian and those guys. They're doing things the right way. Sorry about that. But they're doing things the right way. So, yeah, man, shout out those guys. That's the video for today. Y'all have a good one.